Today I'll show you the top 10 best evolutions to unlock and the best deck for each one. Kicking off our list at number 10 we have the Evolved Musketeer. The Evolved Musketeer is just a very solid evo that can bring a really unique factor to your deck, the really unique surprise factor with the sniper mode that you can take out stuff like Inferno Towers with and things like that, and it's just an evolution that I don't think will get nerfed really ever almost, or at least not anytime soon, so that's really another factor I'm trying to think about when ranking these evolutions. And I would say the best deck for the Evolved Musketeer has to be this balloon deck, because what you do with it is that you simply will just play your balloons and miners like normal, but then you just have that Evo Musketeer to snipe down like Archer Queens or, you know, Inferno Towers, anything like that. Coming in at number 9, we have the Evolved Royal Recruits. The Evolved Royal Recruits are actually very solid right now, very underrated I feel like, and they just bring so much to the recruits. I feel like you kind of have to have the evolution to play them successfully these days, because you need that extra charging that the Evo Recruits do to actually break through in a lot of matchups, and they did get a few nerfs in the past, but I really don't see them getting another nerf anytime soon, and even if they do, it will probably be a very small nerf that won't really affect them too much. I would say this Evo Recruits deck with the Piggies, the Flying Machine, all this Fireball bait is definitely the best and can get you some very easy wins. It's a very easy deck to pick up and play well. The 8th best evolution to unlock has to be the Evolved Mega Knight. Guys, Evolved Mega Knight is criminally underrated, man. It's incredibly good because even if you face something like a Pekka or the typical counters to Mega Knight like Mighty Miner, Knight, stuff like that, it will just constantly uppercut them and bring them close to your opponent's tower, so it will allow your whole push to kind of break through, and even the Mega Knight itself can kind of just get those huge splashes on the tower. And it just a really good card defensively and really good on offense at the same time, so it has so many use cases. And Mega Knight is a card that can be played in quite a few decks like Hog Rider, Goblin Drill, Miner, Balloon, stuff like that. And I think this has to be the best Evolved Mega Knight deck. This Prince Lumberjack spam deck doesn't really have a win condition because Evolved Mega Knight basically is your win condition. Making our way to number 7, we have the Evolved Knight. The Evolved Knight is a very solid evolution right now. It's used in quite a few decks. It's not always the, primary evolution of choice in every single deck, but it's an evolution that you can play in pretty much every single deck in the game. And it's not really too overpowered or anything like that, but it always seems to get the job done. It was really broken a little while back, like probably a year ago at this point, or close to it. When it first came out, it was very broken, but they nerfed the tanking ability of it just a little bit. It still feels so good, though. It can still tank Archer Queen abilities like absolutely nothing, and it's so good on offense especially. It's good on defense, don't get me wrong, but on offense, if you go for it like in front of a giant push or something, you can actually tank for that entire push. And what the Evolved Knight does is that it just forces them to play something right on the Evo Knight, which is very often not what they want to do, because if you have like that whole giant push going and they have to play something like right into your giant push onto that Evolved Knight, then their troop will just instantly die to like whatever you have behind your giant. Or if they don't play anything on your Evolved Knight, then it will just tank the tower and whatever else for just decades. So the Evolved Knight is a very solid evolution. I think that this Electro Giant Evolved Knight is actually the best right now, the best Evolved Knight deck. It's a little bit off meta because E-Giant hasn't been as popular recently, but it seems to be making a little bit of a comeback with the little E-Giant buff and stuff like that, and it works so well because you kind of force your opponents to play stuff on your Evolved Knight, which you can then just get your bowler to line up on and use your Tornado to play it, so their unit will be in front of their tower. At number 6, we have a bit of a surprise evolution in the Evolved Goblin Cage. I think Evolved Goblin Cage has to be maybe the most underrated evolution right now in Clash Royale. It's basically the king of beatdown decks. It's the king building of beatdown decks, because not a lot of buildings actually fit in beatdown decks, but the Evolved Goblin Cage can work so well in Recruits, it can work so well in E-Giant, stuff like Lava Hound even, and quite a few other random things I'm probably not thinking about right now on the spot. But guys, Evolved Goblin Cage single-handedly brought Golem back to life, man. Golem was nowhere to be seen, but recently it's just been absolutely everywhere, and the reason why is because Evolved Goblin Cage is so strong on defense that it allows them to actually build up Golem pushes, whereas they used to always just get punished before when they didn't have that broken Evo Cage to defend. And the other good thing about the Evo Cage, guys, is not only that it has that hand to, yank in stuff, but it also has the Brawler with 10% more HP when it's evolved, so that really helps you get those final hits on the tower that your opponent might not be expecting, since they're probably not too used to the Evo Brawler. A lot of people aren't used to the Evo Brawler having that extra HP, so sometimes they think it'll die, but it just gets that 1 HP huge hit, kind of like how the Prince always seems to, get those 1 HP charges and everything like that. And I think the Evo Cage deserves a nerf, but it's really seeming to go under the radar for the majority of the Clash Royale player base, so I think it's a great evolution to capitalize on right now, and I think the best evolved Goblin Cage deck has to be this Golem Lightning deck right here. You have the broken Evo Lumberjack. Even if Evo Lumberjack does get a nerf, I think this deck will still be amazing. You just have so much defensive potential and also great offense with the different units in here. Coming in at number 5, we have the Evolved Cannon. The Evolved Cannon is probably the second best evolution in Clash Royale right now, so you guys might be wondering why I didn't rank Evo Cannon higher. Now, the thing with Evo Cannon, guys, is that, yes, it's very, very broken, but whatever goes up must come down, as they say, right? So I just think Evo Cannon is probably going to get a nerf soon. We just have to hope they give it a small nerf and not some huge nerf like Evo Skeletons that will, you know, completely kill the card and just make it unviable. But honestly, we don't know, so I'm sure it'll at least get a small nerf, which will probably make it just a decent evolution instead of being so broken. As of right now, it's extremely good. It's a great evolution to unlock, but as I always like to say, guys, if there's something broken in the meta, just know that Supercell probably is going to nerf it either soon or at least relatively soon, right? So I don't think it's good to jump the gun and put all your resources into something right away, but I feel like Evo Cannon probably will be decent even if they nerf it. They probably won't give it too big of a nerf, and it's really just a great evolution that's viable in pretty much every cycle deck right now, like, you know, those minor magic archer decks or stuff like Hog EQ, Royal Hogs EQ, very versatile, and a lot of those cycle decks don't really have many better evolution choices besides the cannon, so even if it does get a nerf, I think that it will still be used just fine in those decks. And I think the best evolved cannon deck right now has to be this Goblinstein minor magic archer deck with the Evo Cannon, probably the best deck in the game overall, and it does include the Evo Cannon just to help you so much on offense especially. Up next at number 4, we have the Evolved Ice Spirit. Guys, the Evolved Ice Spirit is such an annoying little critter. I don't know if you guys relate, but sometimes you'll just have like a huge push. Your opponent overcommitted so much, they should get punished. But then they get the dreadful Evo Ice Spirit, and you just can't break through. They defend your 20 Elixir Giant Prince Mega Minion push with like 2 Elixir. Just like Evo Ice Spirit, Evo Skeletons. Completely counters your entire push that you saved up your whole life for. And guys, the Evolved Ice Spirit is also just really a nerf-proof evolution, I feel like, because unlike the Evo Skellies, it still has remained really good despite the nerf it's gotten, and it really overtook Evo Skelly's placement in a lot of cycle decks. The thing about it now is that they nerfed it a while back to where it only has 2 freezes instead of 3 freezes, but it just like, I don't know how they would nerf it right now, because they probably are always going to keep it at 2 freezes, so they can't really nerf that. The only thing they really could nerf is maybe the damage, but I feel like even if it got a little bit less damage, it would still be a very worthwhile evolution to have, and it's really one of the primary evolutions right now in the majority of cycle decks in the game. It just helps you out so much against stuff like RG especially, just like these single target strong units like, you know, Golem, Pekka, stuff like that. It just completely is a game changer for your defense, and when you have that Evo Ice Spirit in cycle, you just know you can be super aggressive with your cards because you can just get bailed out on defense by that Evolved Ice Spirit. And I would say the best Evolved Ice Spirit deck probably would have to be Royal Hogs Earthquake. Royal Hogs Earthquake just gets away with crazy stuff right now. I mean, obviously they have a bunch of broken cards in that Royal Hogs Earthquake deck, but just the Evo Ice Spirit in particular allows them to get away with so much more and just be so aggressive with their piggies, knowing that they're always going to be safe on defense. At number 3, we have the Evolved Zap. The Evolved Zap is just a very versatile card for beatdown players especially, but even in like minor balloon cycle decks, you can still get quite great value out of it. It's a card that isn't really meta in a ton of decks, but it can kind of just be thrown into a lot of things, and it always seems to get the job done. And it's kind of similar to the Evo Ice Spirit, to where you can't really nerf it very easily. Like, I don't know how you would nerf the Evo Zap. Right now it's 2 waves, like basically a normal Zap times 2. Like, there's literally no way they can nerf it except to maybe take away the stun of the second Zap or like reduce the damage of the second Zap. But even if they do something little like that, I feel like it would still be very good. And it's not really a card that I think Supercell would want to touch anytime soon. Otherwise, they'd kind of just take away the simplicity of it. And yeah, guys, the Evolved Zap is so good because when you get to that Evo Zap, it essentially turns your Zap into an arrows, basically. Like, it does the damage of arrows, and it gets quite a good range as well, because the second Zap has like a bit of a bigger range than the first one does. So yeah, it's really good for that reason. You can kill stuff like Firecrackers, Dart Goblins, stuff like Princess 2. And the other really good part about it is that when you get to that Evolved Zap, you can kill stuff like, you know, like Musketeer, Little Prince, things like that, using your Evolved Zap plus arrows. And a lot of these Evo Zap decks usually do have stuff like arrows, so it's just a perfect spell combo. And it really makes stuff like Lava Hound super scary, because normally things like Hog EQ can counter Lava Hound, but when they get to that dreadful Evo Zap, sometimes there's just nothing you can do, because they just Evo Zap your first Firecracker, they Fireball the second one, and you just have no way to stop their push. So Evo Zap is a really good evolution. You get to it quite often throughout a game too, because you obviously do play your Zap a lot, usually, throughout a game. And I think the best evolved Zap right now has to be this Lava Hound Balloon deck right here. It's been so good for quite some time. Even after the Chef nerf, it still remains to be quite a good deck. I feel like just the Evos in this deck are so good, and the Lava Hound itself seems to be just a very solid win condition, and I don't really see that changing. I think the second best evolution to unlock in Clash Royale has to be the Evolved Bats. Evolved Bats really do it all, guys. They're so versatile. They can be played so well in Mortar decks, in Minor Wallbreaker decks, in Mega Knight decks, and just in these different, Skelly King spam decks and stuff like that. They have such a unique feature, too, to where they can just bite stuff and heal from that. So even if they try to, nerf the HP of the bats or something like that, I feel like they're really a nerf-proof card in my opinion, because just having that unique ability will pretty much always make them good, and they're getting very sneakily strong right now. The reason why is because they nerfed stuff like Rage, they nerfed the arrows, they nerfed a lot of the best counters to bats. So, I mean, even if your opponent does have a Rage or a Zap or something like that, you could still get so much value out of the bats, but especially with the nerf to some of those spells, I feel like it makes the Evo Bats just 10 times better right now, because if your opponent only has a Log as their small spell, which a lot of decks do, then your Bats are just so incredibly broken. Your opponent will have to half the time just spend a whole poison to kill 2 Elixir Evolved Bats, and they just apply so much pressure. Bats are such a good card in general too, and yeah, I just think Evo Bats are pretty much nerf proof. They've been so good for so long. And I would say the best evolved bats deck probably has to be this Mortar deck right here with the Miner and everything. It's been quite good for quite some time. The defense of it is so strong, and having the Evo Bats in here and everything else, you have a really good offense as well. So it's kind of a perfect mix between good offense and good defense as well. The moment you guys have all been waiting for, coming in at number 1, the very best evolution to unlock in Clash Royale, has to be the Evolved Goblin Barrel. It's so broken that you can just make so much double lane pressure with it, and it really changes the way you play Logbait. So guys, let me know in the comment section if you guys think I missed any evolutions in this list, and let me know if you guys agree or disagree with each one of my rankings. Alright guys, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Take care everyone.